Alright folks, it's turn 15. We have ET down here working on forging owl quills now, which he actually should have been doing before, but he'll pump out a few owl quills before I run out of air gems. We have retaken Behemoth's Rest. We lost nobody in the process because sea dogs are honestly really bad. So our Imperial Horsemen pretty much just charged into them and wiped them out. I probably could have sent fewer. I probably could have sent 5 or 6 and still accomplished this just fine. As you see, my Imperial Horsemen are taking almost no damage just because the bite attack is so, well, low damage, it can't really get through the protection. This one Imperial Horseman took a hit. Did anyone else even really take a hit? It looks like just a couple of my Imperial Horsemen took a hit. Yeah, I could have sent 5 or 6 and got away with this. In any case, I found 2 labs. 2 just random labs happened this turn. That's that luck 3 working for me. Unfortunately, they happened here, in these 2 places, these 2 provinces where I don't have forts and I'm not planning to build forts. So that's a little bit sad. But, it's okay. I may eventually fort Ampholia, I suppose, but not right now. So, yeah, I can actually, if I wanted to, I could actually build a temple in one of these provinces and start recruiting Masters of the Way. To be honest, Masters of the Way are not really good mages. 1 water and then 1 from this, it's just not very inspiring, especially because I already have Jade Sorceresses who are 1 water, 1 nature, and then a random by default. So, I don't think I'm going to bother to do that. If one of those labs had happened to pop up here, I would have been ecstatic. But as it is, it'll be alright. So we're building the palisade up there. This palisade will be finished in 1 turn. This palisade has 3 more turns to go. We'll start upgrading that immediately as soon as it's done. We've swapped back to recruiting mainly cavalry in our capital. Down here, we've swapped to recruiting Ministry Guardsmen, actually. And that's because I was looking at the various infantry, and I was like, you know what? Ministry Guardsmen are my most efficient, really high damage infantry. Now, they are going to be vulnerable to crossbows. My own crossbows are going to score friendly fire on them. For that matter, my own composite bows might score friendly fire on them because they don't have shields. They only have 11 protection. But they're the cheapest way I have to get 22 damage at a decent attack value. And that's worth something against Ulm. When you have 19 protection infantry of Ulm coming in, that 22 damage is definitely going to be worth something. So we're getting that. We've got this army marching in. We've already got 8 shielded chaff and 10 archers here with Fu Manchu, who is now preaching. I've got my little gang of Imperial Geomancers down here. 1 more will be recruited next turn. Up here in the capital, I've gone to starting to recruit my first Celestial Master, who I can use to move around and site search, and can also use for forging and to head up communions to get air magic into communions. So I will need several Celestial Masters. Over here, I'm actually recruiting 2 eunuchs. I'm not recruiting a mage this turn. And that's because I should have been doing this. I should have done this earlier, actually. Since eunuchs have this defense organizer ability, I'm going to have these eunuchs move around and just bump up my province defense to 19 in all my important provinces. So I'm going to spend probably 2 turns recruiting 4 eunuchs, possibly 3 turns recruiting 6 eunuchs, and just spread them out across the map. So we'll hit here, there, all that stuff. I just won't have to pay for province defense as long as it's not time urgent. I may kick province defense up to 6 immediately, like right over here. Probably going to kick it up to 6, just to avoid negative events, and then use eunuchs to kick it up the rest of the way. In 6 turns, they'll push province defense up to 18 for free, and then they can move around. So, and as you can see, you know, every time I increase province defense, I get like 3 extra units that can defend this province just for nothing. So that will be nice. Armies are gathering to invade Ulm. Ulm seems to have an inkling of what we're about. You can see here he's spamming militia in Ministra, which I interpret as an effort to push the siege defense of Ministra up high enough that I can't easily take the palisade. That can probably work. I mean, he's got about 15 defense in there right now. This army is going to end up with, that's about 30, 40, 50. This army is going to end up with about 60 siege strength right here. This army's got 10, 40. This army's also going to end up with about 50, so I'm going to end up with about 100 siege strength. This palisade will definitely be able to hold out 1 turn or more against that. I can probably... In fact, if it upgrades to a fortress, which it may before we get started, then I could be in serious trouble, but we'll just see what happens. If it does upgrade to a fortress, I'll probably just besiege it and move on. Take a whole bunch of other provinces and then come back to it when I have more troops. But my troop numbers are actually pretty low at the moment, which is a little bit unfortunate. I could combat that by canceling the cavalry and spamming out more ministry guardsmen, because I could get a lot of ministry guardsmen from the capital here. How many is that even? 1, 2, 4, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27 ministry guardsmen. That's not necessarily the worst idea. Now, the only thing about it is ministry guardsmen are still going to lose a fight to infantry of Ulm. Especially the infantry of Ulm with the flails, because they have 2 attacks, and, 19 protection. Yeah, that's the thing. Because they would chew through ministry guardsmen very, very quickly. They would chew through Imperial City Guard too, but not quite as fast. And I could get... I could get 19 Imperial City Guard, which would hold up a little better. But would have... We're talking about Siege Chaff here. And the question is just, is the Siege Chaff also somewhat effective at fighting Ulmish troops? Well, because these guys have defense skill 15, so that'll actually hold on a little better. What if I just alternate real quick? Those are the ministry footmen, right? As opposed to the regular footmen. Yeah, we have plenty. We have resources, so let's go with the ministry footmen, I guess. We are going to end up resource capped doing this, but that would give me a mix of yeah, that would give me a nice little mix of units. I think I need more siege chaff, so that's what we're probably going to do for right now. The cavalry is great for winning fights. It's not actually as good against Ulm because, once again, the damage problem. It doesn't hit hard enough to reliably punch through Ulmish armor. But it's fast and they can attack rear and all that good stuff. So having the cavalry is good, but you also need kind of the meat and potatoes of the army. And that's what we're aiming to get here. We're getting ministry guardsmen there. Up here we are still recruiting Imperial crossbows with a few footmen. And yeah, so our armies should be fine that way. Got a lot of monkeys on the border. A lot of monkeys. Lots of light Bandar warriors there. Lots there. A whole bunch of Markata archers and Tiger riders down here. That's Bandar log itself. This is Ulm. That's Ulm right there. So we are definitely going to be pushing right into Ulmish territory. Nazca, of course, is looking to coordinate. They'll be attacking Ulm as well, starting next turn. But it should go pretty much to code right at the start, and then we'll see what happens after that. We've got our mind burners. I've got everybody researching this turn, and so we'll hit evocation level 3. Which won't actually help us, except it'll give us magic duel. So if they have astral mages, we can mind duel them if we want. Personally, I'm just gonna keep spamming mind burn, or early on at least. Beyond that, Iron Will is a pretty good spell, although not relevant against Ulm because they don't rely on magic resistance negates spells. If we could get up to Paralyze, that would be nice as well. So the plan here is we're going to form a communion with 4 slaves. That will kick us up to effectively Earth 3, Astral 3, making Mind Burn half fatigue. Then we're going to cast Power of the Spheres, which will boost all of the slaves up so that they have higher level than all but one of the masters. In this case, it would be 4 masters. And that will mean they take half fatigue again. And then we will cast, we'll also summon Earth Power so everyone's reinvigorating. So when we do that, Mind Burn will end up 5 fatigue spread across 5 people, and then we'll be reinvigorating at 5 points per turn, which should mean that we can maintain 5 masters casting Mind Burn indefinitely. The math will be thrown off a little bit because 1 master will be slightly higher level, and so he won't get that second halving effect. Instead, the fatigue from his cast will be like 7. So it'll stack up very, very slowly, but it should allow us to mind burn like a lot. And in fact, we can get more than 4 masters. We've got these 4 mages over here as well. So probably what I'll do is I'll take 6 slaves and 6 masters. And that will allow us to increase the mind burnage pretty effectively. So that will be the plan. It'll cost us a couple of pearls, but nothing too crazy. And after that, we should be good. We should be able to mind burn down a whole lot of Ulm's troops. It just won't be difficult. So that's the plan there. If you're wondering why I didn't send these guys, in this guy's case, it's because he was injured. In this guy's case, it was because he has map move 10, because he's old. He's super old. He's the oldest Imperial Geomancer we have. And in this guy's case, it was because I hadn't recruited him yet. But he's going to sit here researching, forging alquills, researching there, and we're doing pretty well. All things considered. There's Pelagia, so we can see they're taking over a pretty significant grip of the water. And we failed to infiltrate Jotunheim this turn, but we can look at their score graphs from last turn. You can see they got up here, they conquered provinces more quickly than we did, but then they stalled out for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. I've been pretty consistently going up, only 2 turns where I didn't conquer a province. They, it looks like, have had 3 turns in a row now where they hadn't. In terms of forts, at least as of last turn, they hadn't matched my fort count yet. In terms of income, I'm significantly higher, or at least I was. Unless their income shot up last turn for no discernible reason, I'm definitely still pretty well higher. They have a much larger army than I do, which indicates they've been recruiting a lot of Veti, a lot of the goblins, to me. Or they've just been focusing on pumping out troops steadily when I haven't, because I certainly haven't. My army is not large. It's pretty good. It includes a lot of heavy cavalry, but it's not large. My mercenaries, Magnus's crossbows, have left me. I was sad about it, but Satis has actually hired all of the mercenaries. And to be honest, I feel like this is an over-commitment in mercenaries. Like, this is like, what? To get these guys was probably 600 gold off the, at first, and then another 300 or 400 in maintenance every 3 turns. That's a lot of, it's a lot of money. The Wolfkin Reavers are garbage, but they are siege chaff. And they're unlikely to be stolen by anybody else. So that's a thought. What if I were to hire the Wolfkin Reavers? Yeah, because if I do that, that'll just give me 50 more siege strength. And then I'll be able to crack this fort in 1 turn. But actually, let's hire them over here so he doesn't know which way they're going to... Well, he basically knows which way they're going to go. Okay, yeah, so we'll hire the Wolfkin Reavers there. We'll land everybody on top of Ministra and try to crack it in 1 turn. And then we will try to use Mind Burn to get through the walls. And I think that should work out pretty well. So, that was turn 15. I will see you all in turn 16. Okay, turn 16, and the war is about to launch. We've got Niu moving around, still site searching. I don't think we did find 1 magic site this turn, which was the Windswept Catacombs over here in Frosted Peaks. I believe Frosted Peaks now produces 1 of every gem type except Blood Slaves. We've got 1 water, 1 astral, 1 earth, 1 fire, 1 nature, 1 death, and 1 air. Yep, 1 of every type. I love this province so much. It's so great. Our armies are assembled, and we are launching our attack. So up here, we've got these armies, including the Wolfkin Reavers, which we recruited, which are Veti. They only have 0.8 siege strength each, but with 50 of them, that's still 40 siege strength. And they're, like, okay chaff units, basically. So we've got 50 of them. We've got some infantry here, 34 crossbows, and 21 total cavalry. This guy should be on attack rear as well. They do have a small morale penalty, and it'll swap around when they leave our dominion, so they'll be at morale 10, but morale 10 is still acceptable. And these guys will be at morale 11 in enemy dominion. These guys will be at morale 9 in enemy dominion. And this is, yes, that is enemy dominion. So, yeah, we're going to suffer a little bit on the morale front, but I think it'll be okay. I think we'll basically be alright. We also have, so in total, moving on down here, we've got all those guys. We've got Fu Manchu leading his army. Those guys will still be at morale 12. And we've got those archers and these Imperial crossbows. So he's got about 50 troops. We've got our 21 cavalry. And we've got a whole bunch of our Imperial Geomancers. So the Imperial Geomancers are set up to communion and then spam Mind Burn. So we've got 6 communion masters, 6 communion slaves. Round 2, a bunch of our communion masters are going to cast Mind Burn, while 2 are going to cast Power of the Spheres and summon Earth Power to buff the slaves. A couple of others are going to cast other buffs, Twist Fate and Personal Luck, in order to make sure that random arrows don't kill off my communion mages. So what should happen here is Power of the Spheres, that's 100 fatigue. It only requires Astral 1, and with 6 slaves we're going to be boosted up to Astral 3. So it's only going to cost 33 fatigue base. Split among 7, that's not too much, and nobody's going to get any penalties for it. And so Power of the Spheres, that'll be about 6 or 7 fatigue each. Summon Earth Power is 20 and requires Earth 2. We're at Earth 3, so it'll be 10 divided among 7. That'll be about 2. So overall, that should still be less than 10. So with the Communion Slave Fatigue plus that, we should still be under 30 or 40, assuming I've messed something up, which may well happen. We should be fine on fatigue. At that point, we start Mind Burning. These 2 Mind Burns are going to cause a little bit more fatigue, but still not much, and each of these should basically just cause 1. And with 6 Masters, and with the Earth Power plus base Reinvigoration, our Communion Slaves should be able to maintain that very, very easily. In fact, I could probably go 7 and 5 if I wanted to, but I'm being cautious. This should be enough Mind Burn to kill quite a few enemy units if necessary. Also, this army should have the siege strength to crack this fort in 1 turn, especially because it doesn't seem to have nearly as many units as I had thought. It looks like he's moved some militia away. That's Ulm right there. So we're going to go see what we can do about that. I'm also attacking this province. I think they may be building a fort here, and I'd like to either attack it or at least put it under siege. So we're just sending 10 Imperial Horsemen to go attack that province. They are on attack rear. We've got Zenon way at the back, where he is holding. And so hopefully what will happen is the cavalry will run around behind, kill the enemy commanders of the province defense and such before they can reach Zenon. And even if he loses, it's not that big a deal. So that is the plan. We're planning to crack that, capture that. I have been told, so Ashdod is still invading Niflheim. I've also been told that Agartha has invaded Ashdod, which is very interesting. So Ashdod is fighting 2 other players. He's got a fort built here on my border. He's taken this province, which has a lava lake, which is a pretty nice site. I may poach provinces off of Ashdod. I'm trying to move some scouts into Ashdod's territory, just to see what's what. And yeah, if possible, I may just snake some provinces off of him. Pelagia is clearly doing quite well for themselves, which is great for them. And Ying Ying, my Imperial Consort, is sneaking down over here towards Ulm in order to see if we can figure out how well they've been doing. Although it's a little bit late for that, to be honest. We're attacking them, and Nazca's attacking them, and they're going to die. We've also found Pangaea. So Pangaea is right down here. So we're kind of getting a little bit more of a view of the world. I wish I had more scout production sites, but unfortunately I do not. So we're going to search for magic sites real quick. Rhetoric is going to move south and pick up more troops from here. Over here, we're still recruiting our mixed infantry, plus we've added a whole bunch of Imperial crossbows. We do run out of resources before we run out of recruitment points, which is a little bit unfortunate. I could cancel a couple of Imperial crossbows here and take some bog standard infantry. Actually, honestly, that doesn't even help. Yeah, might as well just leave it. We're just high on recruitment points. If I was like tweaking my scales to be ideal, might not need quite that much order. And over here, we're actually quite low on resources, but what we can do is we can still recruit longbowmen. And we also have knights here, so comparing Imperial Horsemen to knights, I've talked about this. Knights are a little bit better, especially in that they have higher prot. Their resource cost is also quite a bit higher, unfortunately. So we'll upgrade this. With 3 forts here, yeah, resources are not going to be great, unfortunately. So I think here we're just going to recruit footmen. and possibly standard archers at some point in the future. We could also recruit horsemen. Horsemen have a low precision composite bow attack, but it is still a composite bow. And they also have a lance charge, so they are kind of versatile, which is nice. They're light cavalry. Heavy horsemen are slightly fewer. Well, with the resource to recruitment point ratio is what's important there. Yeah, we could recruit 3 heavy horse, or we could get 5 standard horsemen. Let's just recruit 3 heavy horse and just set that on repeat, and we'll be fine. So that is how things are going. We've got Jormunda recruiting, or researching, recruiting more of them. We are going to have our first Celestial Master out this coming turn. And we are still forging owl quills. We've got Lu Xing researching with an owl quill. And we'll have more coming up. We're still recruiting eunuchs over here instead of mages. So we've got these 2 moving out. And then we'll have 2 more, and we'll put eunuchs in these provinces, and we'll keep kind of spreading them out. So I'm going to recruit eunuchs for, I think, 2 more turns. I think I'm going to get 6. And have them spread out to maximize our defense in the appropriate locations, like mainly our forts. And so that'll be the plan. So that is turn 16, and I will see you all in turn 17, where we'll see how the invasion of Ulm goes. Take care. Okay, turn 17. And everything is honestly going really well. So there's a battle in the Forest of Springs. This was my little cavalry detachment. And we can see they had over here both a commander, plus their province defense, and an adventurer. So this is a unit you can get from a random event, especially if you have positive luck. She is nature 2 and a healer 1, so it's really, really valuable if you can get this kind of adventurer. She is scripted to retreat immediately, which is very sensible. My Imperial Horsemen run over here, massacre the leadership, and clear out the province defense with no trouble whatsoever. So Forest of Springs, no casualties. In Wood of Many Paths, we can see Bakemono attacked those bear tribe, and so they've taken that province. That's a little unfortunate. I'm not a fan, but, like, it is what it is. The Bakemono Show are not good units, but the Dai Bakemono are very good units. So that's unfortunate. Might have to see if I can have a talk with them. But we're going to have our palisade here next turn. This will be upgraded to a fortress next turn with a lab built. And there was a battle in Ministra, which we can watch. So, on my side, I have my blocks of troops, my cavalry on the flanks, my archers. I had the Wolfkin Reavers, the Veti. And on the enemy's side, they had a decent little grip of province defense, led by a Black Acolyte. So they'd pumped up some fort defense here. And they had a pretty significant number of crossbowmen. My strategies worked pretty well. The crossbow bolts mainly fell on chaff that I didn't really care about. I started mind burning round 3, and you can see I did kill several of these Ulmish infantry. They actually routed pretty quickly, and my cavalry got into the back, massacred the leadership, and then finished off the last of the infantry of Ulm. So, in Ministry, I took a grand total of 3 casualties. I lost a Veti, I lost a Ministry Guardsman, and a Ministry Footman. This army was actually larger than I had been thinking. I must have missed something in the count. But in any case, we did really well. And you can see the Imperial Geomancers got 9 kills, even though the battle was so quick. And we wiped out the province defense very, very easily. So, Ministra has been breached. We can storm the fort immediately. Down here, we have 70 units, so a much more significant army, primarily composed of Black Plate Infantry and Guardians. So these guys are a lot tougher. The Mind Blast strategy will definitely be helpful in dealing with them. That said, even so, they could potentially manage to cut their way through my infantry and just rout me by sheer main force. Now, my cavalry on attack rear make that less likely, but it is still possible. They also have a number of priest smiths down here, so Ulm has clearly been building up towards Iron Blizzard, which is to be expected. It is certainly what I would do if I was Ulm. But yeah, overall everything's going to code. We've got our first Celestial Master who will be moving out in order to site search. This will be pumping out a mage per turn starting next turn. We're pumping out Illusionists here. I'm contemplating swapping back to Imperial Geomancers just for the research. We're getting Imperial Geomancers over here. This place will be a palisade next turn. I'll build a fort the turn after that. Then I'm also going to double back here and build a lab. Going to double back here and lab this province so I can pump out Crystal Amazons. And to be honest, with Crystal Amazons, I don't necessarily need the Illusionists. So yeah, I think I am going to go back to Imperial Geomancers over there. Because then once I have the Crystal Amazons coming out, I don't need all that many, but I can mix them into communions. And they will provide me with air buffs and such. On this side, not sure how the whole war with Ashdod is going yet. Ying Ying is actually moving south in order to try and find Pangea's capital, so that I can infiltrate them, in order to see how well they're doing. And I think beyond that, everything's going pretty much just fine. My Ministry Guardsmen are doing well. I actually have spare resources, and spare gold. So I'm going to convert these guys to Imperial City Guard. They require more recruitment points is the thing. But I think it's still a little bit more effective. I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can get 9 of them, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Ministry Guardsmen. Yeah, I think that's a worthwhile trade. Plus, it's more pleasing to be using up more of my resources. And these guys, we can also upgrade one of them. And then we can upgrade to Ministry there and to Ministry there without otherwise changing anything. Although actually I have more recruitment points, so what if I just made them all Ministry? Could I? Yeah, I run out of resources doing that. How many could I get extra footmen? Not really, I could get 4. That would leave me with 32 recruitment points and 5 resources. Let's get 1 Ministry in there at least. Okay, so we've tacked on a Ministry footman. And yeah, other than that, we are doing okay. Now, I was recruiting another Celestial Master down here. I swapped back to Imperial Geomancer because I want more Geomancers. They're going to be the core of my strength. That freed up a whole bunch of resources. So let's grab some more, not Red Guard, let's grab some more Imperial Horsemen, actually, to back up our troops here. We've got a decent amount of crossbows, a little bit of mixed infantry. We've got the Imperial City Guard coming out down here. Once again, we've got crossbows, a little bit of infantry. And up here, we've got, we're recruiting heavy horsemen. I could afford to upgrade one of those to an Imperial Horseman, actually, so that's what I'm gonna do. It's exactly what I'm gonna do. And like I said, this will be a fortress next turn, and that will make it more effective in recruitment. After that, I'm going to contact Shinuyama again, make sure he knows we're cool. Like, frankly, people are kind of seeming like they're starting to gang up on Ashdod, so I would probably go, because Niflheim's fighting him, a Garthide herd had invaded him. So, if the Bakemono wanted to attack Ashdod, that'd be fine by me. I mean, I like Nasajin and all, but I don't like being next door to Ashdod if I don't have to be. So, if he died, I wouldn't exactly shed any tears in this game. Sorry, NASA. It is what it is. You do the same to me. So, but yeah, this is going fine. This army is very slightly frightening, but honestly not all that scary. I don't think they can stop me from hitting this province effectively. So I'm just going to keep rolling with Xenon real quick. And we'll put in just 1 point of province defense just for funsies. And we're storming the fort, so we should storm the fort. I'm looking at the gems that I have left. I don't think there's anything in the palisade, or at least not much. So I might not even actually cast Power of the Spheres. Like, I think I'm going to change that Communion Master. Just make that, Resist Magic. And then Mind Burn. And you're on conservative gem usage, so that's fine. Actually, no, wait. I remember why I didn't want to do that. This is a question of timing. The Power of the Spheres, because see, if these guys move into attack, that battle will actually happen before we storm the fort. So I'll definitely want the Power of the Spheres in that case. So if they attack, I'm actually going to use the Power of the Spheres before we actually storm the fort, which will be fine. So that is turn 17, and I will see you all in turn 8. Oh, single locksmith. That is Ulm's National Hero from the Worthy Heroes mod. One of them. He's a really great mage, but I think if he stays there, my cavalry's going to kill him. Here's hoping. Cross your fingers, knock on wood. So in any case, that should be about that. Is there a province handy where I can be recruiting independent commanders? Yes. Let's pump out independent commanders here in Panofia. And over here, I could recruit some N1s, but I don't need them. I just really, really don't need them. So in any case, that's going to be turn 17. I will see you all in turn 18.